Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for the cut file crew. So we're using a cut file from Paper Issues, and I tried to cut it on the black cardstock, but I think you may have noticed there it didn't cut all the way through. I was going to recut it and I decided to change tack and use that as the basis of the layout. So that was the cut file I've just shown you there. I keep all my scraps of pattern paper in 12 by 12 bags, and using the scraps I keep sending the mat through the silhouette, and I've cut out all these stars from different scraps of pattern paper to create an all-round rainbow effect. So using some 3D foam, I've got two different thicknesses there in that tray, and some wet glue, I'm going to work my way around sticking the stars to the 12 by 12 black cardstock. So I know exactly where to stick them because obviously the lines have been partially cut. I think it was a blade issue, if I'm honest. Probably need a new blade, and it's not cut all the way through the card. And rather than dig out some more black cardstock, I'm just going to put the stars over the markings that the silhouette has made. Originally I was going to back from behind, but this is just as good. So if you do have an issue sometimes with your cutting machine, there is always a way round it, I'm sure. And I've just changed my idea a little bit. So I'm adding some foam to the back of these stars. I'm quite liking the rainbow effect that I've managed with the scraps. I did cut a couple of times just to replace them, just to get a bit of more variety. For some reason I don't seem to have very much orange in my stash, or at least in the bags where I keep partial sheets. And I didn't want to cut into a 12 by 12 just for a small star, so that's why I was only using scraps really. So, and I've been a little bit flexible with the rainbow there, and I've got some pinks in that top left corner, but I think it works as a whole really well. So I'm just going to make sure they are all stuck down to that base cardstock. So let me tell you a little bit about the cut file crew. The Cut File crew is a group of scrappy ladies or crafting ladies on Instagram who once a month, on the last Sunday of the month, post, and we've all used the same cut file. So you'll find that we all produce very, very different products, cards, book covers, layouts, tags, you name it. Generally scrappers from Europe. We take it in turns to choose. Every time we choose a cut file, it's a free one, and this is free from Paper Issues, so you can just get it yourself. And the idea is we're all meant to be providing inspiration for you to use a free cut file in your scrapping or in your crafting and be able to make something from it. And it's really interesting actually. If you go to Instagram, and I'll leave my Instagram tag below, I love to hop round and see what the girls have made, because it is always so very different. And it's amazing how many different companies and organisations have free cut files. So that's another thing. We tend not to use the same cut file maker more than, say, once every 6 months or so, even once a year, so that we can actually get some good variety. So you get to see new people that make cut files, and we get to play with ones that are new to us as well. So it all works really well, and as I say, we do it because we want to, and all the cut files are free. So definitely worth having a hop around on IG to see all that's been made. So I'm just bringing in the wet glue, and I'm just tipping it there, and I found a star that fell off. So I'd obviously not stuck that one down, and I was cutting up the bits of foam to make them small enough so they didn't get seen. The tiny, tiny stars were all glued down. I couldn't face cutting the foam that small. So the next thing I need to do is bring in my photograph. I found one that I really like, and I'm actually going to make it circular. On the original cut file there are stitch lines. So I go through my embroidery threads and I find a selection of threads, I think it's about 19, and I'm going to use the same shade of thread-ish as the colour of the paper star, and I'm going to stitch all 19 lines. Now I didn't really think about the colour of the thread when I was cutting the stars, so I mean maybe if I'd have thought about it I could have done it the other way around, because I have less thread and more paper, but I'm just picking ones that are similar, so just so that you get that tonal feel again. So I'm literally doing one straight stitch coming up at the start and down in the centre. The centre will be covered by the photograph anyway, and then I'm literally covering it in a bit of sellotape and cutting it off. It definitely took me longer to find the colours than it did to actually sew the colours. So, and it's easy because the holes were actually part of the cut file, so you don't need to even make them. They were already cut for you. And mine haven't cut all the way through, but with a sharp needle I'm actually getting through them, so that's not a problem at all. I'm only using as much thread as I really need because literally it is just that one big stitch. Now I'm not going to subject you to all the sewing, you don't need to see me do 19 straight stitches, but you kind of get the idea. I work my way around quite methodically because I've got all the colours out and I've got them spaced in my workspace, so I know pretty much where I'm going. I could always refer back to the cut file. So that's it halfway through, and I really like the way that's looking. And that's it, all the lines done with thread. So that's the photograph, and that's it in a circular format in the centre. Now I decide that I actually want to add a title. So from black cardstock, excuse the letters already cut from it, it's just a scrap, I cut a black circle. And using these foam letters, I am going to put my title. Now you may see that I've already started that. That's because I had a bit of a camera issue and a bit of the video didn't actually record, but you still don't need to see me stick down a whole title. But what I did do is I brought the circle back in over the layout, and I'm trying to pick letters that are similar to the colours in the stars. Now I'm not going I only want to use this alphabet, and I didn't think about that either at the very beginning. So they're just an idea of the tones. So I'm trying to use pinky purples, reds in that word I'm doing there. At the bottom I've tried to use bluey, greeny, yellows. Do you know what I mean? It's not exact. I could cut them from cardstock. I don't want to. I just would like to get this total to flow around the photograph, which brings me back to the photograph. So this is my friend Mary. Well, this isn't Mary. This is an actual flat cardboard cutout of Mary. It's a long story, but I belong to a group that have a girly, crafty weekend once a year, and we've been doing it for 10 years. And this year we were celebrating the anniversary, and unfortunately this is Mary, and she had to attend a wedding the other side of the world and was unable to come with us. Now we couldn't imagine our weekend without her, so one of my lovely crafting friends made a Mary. And this Mary appeared in all the photographs and sat at the table when we ate and got into all sorts of shenanigans over the weekend. And that is something that I wanted to document. So I've called this There's Something About Mary after the movie. I'm sure you remember that. And so that's the title. So that's all finished. And now I'm going to attach that to the layout. Just using a foam pad just to lift it above the embroidery thread. So I'm getting that pretty much where the circle of dots was, and I'm really happy with the way that looks. I don't feel that the layout needs anything else. So somebody mentioned in my comments recently I'd talked about putting the journaling on the back of the layout, or at least the date and people, because we don't always remember everything. So I wanted to actually show you how I did that this time. So these are actually just white stickers from a stationery store. They're nothing special. Stick them on the front of an envelope. And what I do is I write the details or my journaling, and I actually then stick them to the back of the layout. So these tell you all about our weekend away. They tell you all about the flat cardboard Mary, the reasons why, what we did, the antics we got up to, and the date. And that, so therefore, when this is in the album, or when if somebody looks at it in the future, then the information is there, because I didn't want to spoil the front of this with all that, but to me that's what this layout conveys, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps. Here's the full image. There'll also be some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you here real soon. Bye for now.